Morning.
Great morning.
Great
It's a
morning.
beautiful morning. It's springtime.
It's not spring.
The animals are coming out of hibernation.
You're ridiculous.
No, it's springtime.
There's 10
Stop fighting it. It's
inches of
springtime.
snow outside.
10?
10 inches of snow. Look at that shed.
I think there's like 2 feet, but
I don't know.
yeah, this
How many
is
inches is a foot?
12 inches to a foot.
There's not 2 feet.
How many grams in a pound?
Don't.
I know that there's somebody watching
Don't
right now
even.
that just laughed at that, and they know the answer.
Not me.
For reasons outside of baking. Good morning. Welcome to our Life in Recovery and Beyond. Today is Thursday. Today would be the first day of Lent if many of us practice the spiritual life, or we live the spiritual life, and we have certain practices. And I'm not one for churchy stuff or just doing stuff. And so our friend Joanne talked about Lent, and then what rises up in me is this have to do things of like religious activities. But she put it in a very beautiful way that it wasn't like a challenge, because that's what I hear. 40-day challenge. I'm up for the challenge. It's like, what's the point of that? To sign me up for something like your Beachbody friends?
Just to say before you go any further, I'm practicing hiddenness also as a part of Lent. So I'm not actually talking about what I'm doing for Lent with other people.
And good thing I didn't even ask you.
Okay. I just thought I'd put that out there because
the presentation of Lent, what Joanne had said was really good. And it was like in the spiritual life and to come alongside with a relationship with Jesus and his 40 days in the desert. It's like, what does God want to subtract from me in a way that I can give something that I go to as a third alternative, something that gives me like a reward system that I reward myself with. But actually, I need to get that reward from God. So that's kind of what was the presentation. I was like, oh man, that's beautiful. I want to give up something. And I went in to the last couple of days of like, I'm just going to wait till Wednesday's service for Ash Wednesday and God's going to speak to me. But unfortunately, God spoke to me for the last 2 days. And I got to unpack what I am lamenting. Do you go into lamenting for Lent, or is that a whole different? Anyway, is lamenting sad, being upset? Okay, so we shouldn't be upset with Lent. So anyway,
well, Lent is creating your own wilderness. You're creating a wilderness so that you can get closer to God.
Wow.
You're creating your own wilderness. And so some people some people have to pull away because they get to a place of like overwhelm and exhaustion. And so then they have to pull away. Lent is a period of time where you're actually like creating your own wilderness so that you remove these distractions and can get closer to God.
So then it was the subtraction of a third alternative, something that I go to, and then an addition. So I thought that was really an addition that God wants me to do. So I like your wilderness. You're very well. You've been studying this.
I have.
So then my other question that I haven't considered or really thought about or taken to prayer meditation. So what do you do when Lent is over? Like in my mind, because of
you celebrate the resurrection of Jesus.
At Easter with chocolate.
No, not with chocolate, but you celebrate the resurrection. And so there's also practices there. They call it Eastertide.
Eastertide. The tide is coming in. Roll tide.
Mm-hmm. And it's actually like if you follow the church calendar, which we've never done, but like not in the like to this degree. But if you practice the church calendar, there are practices, I don't know them, but of like celebrating Eastertide.
I would say that we do practice the church calendar to the degree, but our depth of understanding of why we're doing it, I think is a lot more.
No, I'm just saying we've never observed Lent or like to any like serious extent, and like the period of Eastertide is actually longer than the period of Lent. Like, I didn't even know that. So obviously that means I've never practiced it
So I think, to me,
or observed
the
it.
important thing is the why. So what's
Yeah.
behind it? What's motivating? Like, I don't want the challenges. I don't think that's the point. So when there's a deeper meaning and a deeper point, I'm like excited about it. So congratulations on your lenting. Those are long fingernails on the dog. I don't know if you can hear that. So thank you for joining us. If you're doing the Lent, then let's party in Lent together. So we are in the March the 3rd. What?
Nothing.
Do you have something to say?
Jesus was alone in the wilderness.
Oh, so there's no Lent party. Be alone and be in the wilderness, and we'll see you.
It's not a rule.
We'll see you in 40 days.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, no, I totally understand what you're saying. Sometimes I get excited about things, and
It's fine.
I
It's
don't.
good.
Yeah,
No,
no,
it's good.
I think there's something there about it's so easy for me to take it as a challenge, but then I want everybody to be involved in it. But it's not really for everybody to be involved in it. It's about me and my relationship with God, and then my natural inclination, yeah, will be to go on the extreme end of what I was giving up for Lent and go like, well, I missed all these 40 days. It's time to go on a bender, whatever the bender looks like. So I think I have a lot of room to grow spiritually, which is a great thing because I'm only young. And so
You're not even 50 yet.
I'm nowhere near 50. Like I think growing room is good, and being receptive and humble, not to have all the answers. So hopefully I can get through this season on my own in the wilderness with God.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm glad you feel like you're not near 50.
And we listened to a really good Lenting podcast, and she brought up so many ideas about Lent, the temptations, and so I really believe that we will go through temptations of like, is this real? What's the point of this? You got this. You don't need to be so dependent on God. All that stuff, right, is really interesting. So how do we come into this season to encourage each other? That's a good conversation as well.
Mm-hmm.
All right, March the 3rd. Welcome to our morning meditation, where we will take an idea and contemplate it and then expand it. Hopefully God will expand it to us throughout the day. Your dog wants in. Her feet are frozen. During the dreadful drinking days. Dreadful drinking days? There she is. The princess has arrived. Dreadful drinking days. I thought they were glamorous and glorious. No, they weren't. The dreadful drinking days. The anxiety over what was happening in our family was certainly the most important thing in the world. It consumed all of us. How could it be otherwise? We were living with it, saddled with it. We knew there was a world outside where people lived in some degree of order and peace. Addiction brings disorder and chaos. But if we thought about it at all, it was with only a passing pang of envy. We were swamped, drowned in troubles that left no room for thinking of anything else. In Al-Anon, or the 12-step program, we discover that there is a way out of hopeless seeming situation. Hopeless seeming situation. We find friends to give we find friends to give us help and encouragement. We find opportunity to help others. And so slowly we climb out of the pit in which we thought we were buried. Oh man, this is like what you were talking, the 40 days in the wilderness. Wow. Today's reminder: when it suddenly dawns on us that Al-Anon has something we can use, we leap from hopelessness to hope and confidence. We give up despair, we catch a glimpse of hope, and then we know it is up to us to make it work in our lives. Let me realize, here's our quote, let me realize that the Al-Anon program, or any 12-step program, or LifeLab, or relationship with God, is not a magic potion that will instantly cure all my ills, but a pattern of living that will serve me to exactly the degree that I work at it. That's good. This is going from hopelessness to hope. I think you know, what I was in my meditation this morning, I was thinking of the Apostle Peter getting on the water with Jesus. He was called out. He was like, I want something to obey. I don't want you to calm the storm. I want to do cool God things like you're doing. I want to walk on water. I want to do the impossible. And then he gets out and he's like, this is cool. And then starts sinking. And it's like, with a relationship with God doesn't cause the storm to quiet necessarily, doesn't cause more safety or a bigger boat. It doesn't even cause me from not drowning, because Peter was going to drown. But the relationship that I have with God is that I'm going to be okay, no matter what. Even in the drowning, I'm going to be okay.
Right.
So this is going from a hopeless situation of addiction and chaos. And I know that we haven't had to suffer that personally for 15 years of continuous recovery, but then we can get into our own hopelessness, I think, of like living life not on life's terms and trading the insanity of alcohol for the insanity that we can run our own lives. And that's why the hope comes in, that I have to have, and here's the key, it is up to us to make it work in our lives.
Mm-hmm.
What is that up to me to do? It's to have a relationship with God on a daily basis, because the insanity will come back, whether it's alcoholic or the insanity that I can live my own life doing my own thing,
or the insanity that I can fix someone else or help someone else when they don't want to help themselves.
And isn't that beautiful? That just doesn't go away. Like in our experience, it's like a daily thing. I'd say dumb things to you all the time, and you have the ability to react and not to react, and to cause upheavals. And I react to my fears. And so the beautiful thing that God gives us is the ability to have these things that make us turn from hopeless conversations, hopeless, frustrating situations, and turn to Him.
Mm-hmm.
And go like, this fear is popping up again. Why am I on the fear train? And why am I reacting? And I like how it says that this is not a magic potion. Imagine taking the magic potion. We haven't found that yet. Where is it? It's our love between us. It's the magic potion.
Yeah.
So there is no magic potion that will instantly cure all my ills, but a pattern of living. So what's that pattern of living?
Constant contact with God.
Yeah. Otherwise known as a spiritual life. So that is the prayer for all of us today, is as we are entering Lent and into the wilderness and living the spiritual life, what is the hope? The hope is that I have a relationship with God that will solve all of my problems. And even in the drowning, I will be okay. That's beautiful. Hope is famous. Have a great day.
Thank you. You too.
We should kiss
you
on camera.
Too. No, we're not kissing on camera.
I'll kiss
it's not
them.
happening.
All right. Keep the peace, be of good behavior, and we will see you tomorrow.